issue of validity for quantitative and qualitative methodology. And for the qualitative one, to increase our validity, there are some issues that we need to deal with. First, I want to mention them one by one. The first one is member checking. Member checking is very important. You're a researcher, you're conducting data. After you collect the data, you analyze the data and you generate some main themes, and then you go to the participant again after you conduct the interview, and based on the content of that interview, you go to the participant again and you ask them questions. You check, you ask them, you clarify, and you show them your notes and ask their opinions, whether you understand them or understand them. So this is called member checking. So if there is some issues that you misunderstood, then the participants will warn you against them, and then you will make some adjustments. So we call this member checking session. In member checking sessions, you increase the validity of your study. This is number one. And we also have triangulation. What does triangulation mean? It means, for example, we have method translation, participant triangulation, we have methodology triangulation, we have research triangulation. It means to strengthen, to empower your data, okay, your analysis by checking or by cross-checking, by asking, by putting extra effort to your data. For example, you apply interview and you collect data through interview and you come to some conclusions about your participants' views, and then you also want to implement another data collection tool, which could be, for example, observation. And you will match, okay, whether what the participant says in the interview session really match what you observe. So you can also do some extra data collection methods, like, you know, together with interviews, you implement also observation, and you can also ask your participants to provide you with open response questionnaires. So you have, instead of just one data collection method, now you have three. You have the interviews, you have the observation, okay, and you have the open response questionnaire. So this means that you triangulate and you cross-check what your participants say, and you focus, you base your analysis, your conclusions on these three different methods, data collection tools. And for the tick description, again, for qualitative studies, in tick description, they want you to describe detail in a way that your readers can figure out, can understand, as if watching a video, as if watching a documentary, what's happening. You should provide your readers with every detail in every section of your data collection, how you collect data, how you dealt with some problems, how you find your participants, how you decide on them. what was the atmosphere, what was their first reaction, how did it develop. So providing your readers with this detailed and dense description is really a good way for you to make a good impression for the reviewers of your study. And we also have peer reviews. Peer reviews, it means, for example, you collect data, you do some analysis, and you come to some conclusions, and you formulated your teams. But for another person, you ask for another person's help to see and check whether what you formulated is right or not, or whether it seems problematic or not. So you ask one of your peers to check, okay, and maybe there are some things that you overlooked. Maybe you had some biases. Maybe you developed some conclusions. You drew some conclusions, and you had some bias. Through peer review sessions, you can get rid of this bias. Okay, maybe intentionally or unintentionally. Sometimes researchers might happen to have some biases, or maybe you can. It's very possible that you could overlook unintentionally some facts. So this is very good for one of your peers to play the advocate. To play the devil's advocate, okay? And I also want to mention the external audits. What does external audit mean? Let's say you collected your data and you did your analysis, and you also asked your peer review, like debriefing sessions. You will make some adjustments, okay? You come to some conclusions, and after you are done with all these phases, then you, for example, in doctoral thesis or MA thesis dissertations, you send your paper or your dissertation to the reviews, and if the reviews are experts in quantitative data, quantitative studies, but not very good at qualitative ones, they might want to ask for the help of an external audit who is really good at, let's say, qualitative studies. So to ask an expert's opinion about the study called external audits. You ask for the help, for the guidance of an external auditor to come and check and see whether your study is okay or not. So this is called external auditor. So these are the things that I wanted to mention. I wanted to draw your attention to, starting from member checking, triangulation, to tick description, peer reviews, and external audits. All these phases are really helpful to increase the validity of your qualitative study.